Good evening, race fans. We're here tonight for the Attrition Sim Racing Campus race number 21 out of 36 at Indianapolis Oval. I'm your host. Garrett has him taken over for Aiden tonight. He cannot make it, and he will not be streaming next week's race at Watkins Glen. I might cover for it. I don't know, but practice just ended as we watch Mark Royce pull out of pit lane to begin the 10-minute qualifying session. 10-minute qualifying sessions in ASRC. Let's see how many people we got. Registered right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We currently got 12 people registered for this event. If I'm not mistaken, it is 40 laps long for a 100-mile race. Mark Royce, if I'm not mistaken, last time I streamed, he came in second at Chicagoland, so we know he's fast. But while Mark Royce is doing his qualifying laps, let's go over the weather right now. It is a nice and hot 80 degrees here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're racing the NASCAR version, so pit lane is not in turn 3. It is just brake as late as you can down the front straight. Winds are blowing northeast at 9 miles per hour, and the forecast is going to be a nice, sunny, clear, no clouds in the sky to cover up any part of the track. But like I said, 100-mile race here at Brickyard at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, if I'm not mistaken, it should equate to about 40 laps of racing. I don't know the fuel amount, but I'm thinking that we'll probably have at least one stop. Gen 4 cars here, great combo. Cars get loose; they like to slide. And let me switch that. Okay. So currently, as of right now, fastest lap goes to Daniel Ott with a 53.069. And let me get the race name out of the way. Yep, currently Daniel Ott in the number 29 Reese's car. Looks a lot like Kevin Harvick's looks like a Kevin Harvick scheme. Currently P1 provisionally with a 53.069. Coming down the front straight to complete his second and final lap. There are 2 laps to complete in qualifying, as it looks like he will not top his first lap time. Mark Royce finishing his qualifying run, he will be just shy of the pole by 0.03 of a second. As I was going to Benjamin Harst, but it kind of disappeared. Why is it on scenic mode? That's weird. Sorry about that. But Benjamin Harst currently second place on his final lap with a 53.101. So he's got some speed, at least single car wise. You never know what can happen once other cars are thrown into the mix. Benjamin Harst has been in this league for probably as long as, probably since the first couple seasons, if I'm not mistaken. But Benjamin Harst will finish his qualifying run, and he will be off the pole by 0.31 of a second by setting a 53.101. Nicholas Morelli, he won a couple seasons ago at Talladega. He just finished his qualifying run in 7th place with a 53.482. Michael Sparks loose out of turn 1. currently sitting 8th place on his flying lap. Maybe his first lap had a little bit of a bobble, a little bit of a mistake in it, but currently, not the greatest of laps, but anything can happen at Indy. We saw it happen to J.R. Hildebrand, so you never know. Maybe the entire field correct. And Michael Sparks should be the benefactor at the end of this race. Anything can happen. We saw that at Chicagoland when we thought that Brandon Feeney was going to run out of fuel, but he didn't and pulled off a miracle. So let's see what Michael Sparks sets. He sets a 53.723, and he will remain in 8th place. Corey Logan in the number 24 CZ Robotics car. A little bit loose off of turn number 4. He's coming to his first lap here at Indy. A little bit wobbling all over the place. That's going to lose some time down the straight. Didn't get the best entry. You kind of want to be close to that curb, but you don't want to nick it, because if you nick the curb, your car is getting loose, and you might fishtail it a little bit, and that's just going to ruin your lap. So maybe a little bit more of a conservative line to not overdo it. As my cat jumps on my desk, I apologize. So coming through turns 3, this is a very long track, 2.5 miles long. It's as long as Daytona, but you do have to brake, and these corners are a lot more deceptive than you think, because this is shaped more like a rectangle than an oval. But Corey Logan's first lap will be a 53.983, which will set him in 9th place as he smacks the wall, so that's going to invalidate his second lap. So we go to Brandon Feeney, Chicagoland winner, and sliding through turn 2. That's the opposite of what you want to do. That's going to heat up his tires. So that car is going to be loose and probably not as fast in the corners. But Brandon Feeney, with all the people who've been entering and leaving the league throughout this season, I think that he might be a contender for the championship, because we had Kevin West leave the league, if I'm not mistaken. We had Bryson Hixenbaugh leave the league, and this is while they're in the hunt for the championship. So it really shows that in ASRC, it's not over till it's over. Brandon Feeney with that slide in turns 1 and 2 on his first lap in 11th place with a 55.155, but I'm sure he's hungry for a better time, and he'll be able to pull out a time, and he'll be able to pull out a lap in just the nick of time if he doesn't slap the wall. Very easy to do here at Indy. The walls really approach you quite quickly, and any wall tap or off track will invalidate your lap time, thanks to the iRacing rules. And he gassed it up a little too much out of the corner. Got loose. These Gen 4 cars love getting a little loose, and that is going to trash his flying lap. So Brandon Feeney going to start in P11. Give me 1 second. Johnny Bell, he's currently sitting in pit lane. I assume the same fate that befell Brandon Feeney happened to Johnny Bell, but he will start 10th. Johnny Bell, one of the founding members of this league. He's been on and off in terms of participation. You always have to have it always helps to have a good real-life iRacing balance. It's never good to spend too much time on this game, as you will slowly lose your sanity. But it looks like everyone has completed their qualifying laps, with the exception of Jason Gardner, who has not set a qualifying time yet, and he has not even been on track yet. So, safe to assume that he's either not starting or starting from the back. So, With 10 seconds to go, let me go through our starting lineup. As qualifying ends, on pole is the 29 of Daniel Ott, and on his outside is the 09 of Benjamin Harst. Starting in third in row 2 is the 44 of Mark Royce and the 45 of Mark Kluge. Give me 1 second. Okay. No, now let me... Next page. Okay. In row 3 is Daniel Sparks in the number 4 with the 188 of Joshua Rudolph on his outside. Row 4 consists of Nicholas Morelli and Michael Sparks. In position number 9, starting off row number 5, is Corey Logan, and rounding out the top 10 starters is Johnny Bell in the number 27. Brandon Feeney, with his mistakes in qualifying, will start in 11th place, and Jason Gardner, who did not set a qualifying time, will start in 12th place, rounding out the 6th and final row. 40 laps here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So if everything goes to plan, this should be a pretty short race. I mean, what were the qualifying times? I honestly don't even remember now what the qualifying times were. But it should not be too long. If it goes green all the way, should be definitely under an hour. So, I'm excited. This is a great combo of the Gen 4 cars. These cars don't have a whole lot of downforce, but they have a whole lot of power. And it's exactly what NASCAR fans love. High power, low downforce. Recently, iRacing changed the physics of how the cars interact, so they handle bumps a little better. Bumps from other cars, so maybe one little tap won't send people spinning. Let's see. The pole time was a 53.069, so this should take about 45 minutes. That's including fall off and pit stops. But pace car is starting to roll. Everyone has gridded, including Jason Gardner, so he is racing. Is that a Discord message? Okay. Let me just check the stream. Everything seems to be going well. And I am told that the 09 of Benjamin Harsty, that's how the last name is pronounced. I apologize, Miss Ann Harsty. I'll make a mental note for that. So I'm expecting a pretty clean race at Indianapolis. The races tend to fan out a little bit. It's hard to, it can be hard to pass. You really have to get a run down these very long back straights and kind of dive it into the corner a little bit. But Indianapolis has created some fun races, created a lot of strategy just due to the shape of the track and the length of it. With these long straights, it does consume quite a lot of fuel. The banking of the turns is, I believe, 12 degrees, so nearly flat. Very little banking to help carry speed, so you have to slow down a lot. And these cars are reaching 180, 190, maybe even higher entering the corners. But pace car coming out of turn 4, pulling into pit lane. We will start on the green flag in ASRC as Kevin Ott leads us to the green flag. Green flag is out here at Indianapolis. Kevin Ott with a good start. Benjamin Harsty with an almost equal start. Whoa, a little bit of wheel spin from the 29. Gets it under control. Looks like a pretty tame start so far here at Indianapolis. Harsty looking to the outside. Can he make the move on the outside? Looks like he has a run. Ott lets him go. Harsty to the lead. So starting on the outside, that's normally not something that happens. Normally this is a very inside dominant track. But Benjamin Harsty to the lead here at Indianapolis. Pull up the timing screen real quick. And it looks like Mark Kluge has made it past Daniel Ott. So Daniel Ott might be trying to save a little bit, save his tires, since Indy does eat tires like no other track. Daniel Sparks a little bit loose out of turn 4, going to be under attack from Mark Kluge. As I said Mark Kluge earlier, I meant Mark Royce. My apologies. But it looks like we have some single file racing so far. Jason Gardner had a slow start. He is all the way in the back, so he's going to need a caution to help him out. But up near the front, Benjamin Harsty in the lead, trying to fend off Mark Royce in the number 44. As we have a battle for 6th place brewing right now between Joshua Rudolph and Nicholas Morelli. Morelli won at Talladega a couple seasons ago, so he knows how these cars work and how they work at these big high-speed tracks. Very capable, a very capable driver, as the field is all a single file, not a whole lot of passing going on at the moment. That's the nature of these races at Indy, as we see Mark Royce getting really sideways, getting to the back of Benjamin Harsty. So we might have a battle for the lead brewing right now. Draft down this backstretch is going to be a very important factor, but another factor is going to be how much these two leaders are burning up their tires, because you don't know if Daniel Ott might just be laying back. He had a little bit of a slow start, dropped back to 3rd place, but tire wear is big at Indianapolis, especially in these low downforce cars. So I don't know the tire situation. I'm not a clairvoyant. I'm not a telepathic, so I can't read minds. But I'm surely thinking that some sort of tire saving might be in effect for Daniel Ott, as the two fastest cars on the track right now, which means that they're the ones pushing it the most, is Mark Royce and Benjamin Harsty, my mistake, as Mark Royce looking to the inside of Harsty down the back straight. This is the prime passing opportunity into turn 3. Will Harsty back off? Yes, he will. Move Mark Royce to the top spot, the number 44 Harley Davidson car. Now takes the lead for the first time this race as Harsty capitulates. But Harsty's never one to back down, so I think that he wanted to not try to burn up his tires too much battling with that number 44, but I think that he'll want to stay on the back end as much as he can, because it can be hard to catch up once you're out of drafting distance, and the exits of these corners is what matters so much. So we'll have to see how this pans out, as there's a considerable gap between 3rd and 4th place, about 2 seconds between Daniel Ott and Daniel Sparks. Closest battle right now is for 5th place at this moment. So we have Nicholas Morelli hounding the back end of Mark Kluge in the number 45, who's also on the back end of Daniel Sparks. Daniel Sparks having a good run in position number 4. So maybe this will be Mr. Sparks's race. And of course, as mentioned a billion times before, Daniel Sparks and the number 42 of Michael Sparks are related. If I'm not mistaken, it is a father and son combo. But nice to see family ties here at the Attrition Sim Racing campus, as Mark Kluge might have a run down the back straight into turn 3 if he makes an aggressive lunge, getting the draft, but he backs off a little bit too early to be making a bonsai move into turn 3 on lap number 6. But Daniel Sparks didn't get that good of an exit out of turn 3. This is going to set up Mark Kluge for a good turn 4. And Nicholas Morelli, he's a very big IndyCar driver, so he knows how to handle this track. So Nicholas Morelli might be a threat in the later stages of this race. But a very good battle going on right now for 4th place and 5th place. But it looks like Morelli is biding his time, maybe hoping for them to go side by side to slow each other up. Mark Kluge might have another run entering turn 3 with that draft. Will he look to the inside? Nope. Gonna back off once more. As I'm sure Daniel Sparks does not want to see Mark Kluge get any closer in his mirror. I think Daniel Sparks would be very happy with a 4th place, as big wiggle out of Kluge. So this might open the door for Nicholas Morelli to take the 5th spot, but I don't think Morelli got that good of an exit either, as Joshua Rudolph in the 188 is behind him, trailing about a second and a half behind, and that is most likely out of drafting distance. Mark Kluge with a great run out of turn 2, looking to the inside of Daniel Sparks. He's probably going to have the move made entering turn 3 if Daniel Sparks lets off, but Daniel Sparks is not wanting to give it up, but the inside is just so dominant here at Indianapolis, as Morelli misses the corner a little bit, and Mark Kluge in the number 45 moves his way up to P number 4. Big wiggle out of the 4 of Daniel Sparks. This might be Nicholas Morelli's time to pounce. Looks like he's just not close enough. But he might have a move made into out of turn 2 down the back straight. If he can get a good exit, it looks like Sparks doesn't carry a whole lot of speed through the corners. This might be Morelli's chance to crack into the top 5 if he can get a good run down the back straight. Morelli runs ASRC on and off. Does it on the tracks that he has, and since Morelli is a pretty big IndyCar guy, of course he'd have Indy. But it looks like he did not get the entrance into turn 3 that is very optimal. So for the time being, he will have to stay behind Daniel Sparks, as Daniel Sparks nearly spins out. So side by side for position number 5, and Morelli is going to clear Daniel Sparks. So Daniel Sparks having a hard time keeping that number 4 car under him, especially out of turn number 4. As we're already a quarter of the way through this race. Going back to the front, Mark Royce has opened up a 2.5 second lead over second place Benjamin Harsty. So Harsty might be saving some tires a little bit more than Royce's. I imagine Royce might have pushed a little harder to get out of drafting distance. As we see some damage on the side of Daniel Ott. I thought I heard some scraping. Looks like he might have pushed it a little too hard, exiting a corner and smacked the wall. Hopefully the toe isn't bent too much. As you can see, the right front of that car is crumpled in a little bit. Hopefully the toe isn't bent out too much, because that can severely affect straight line speed in these cars. Let's see. As the field now spreads out, the closest gap between cars is between 5th and 6th. Nicholas Morelli and Daniel Sparks with a little over a 0.6 of a second difference between the two. But as the tires wear in, we might see cars start hustling their way to the front. Brandon Feeney in P8 looks like he has some right front damage as well. Looks like he might have push it a little too hard out of the corners and smack the wall. Started all the way in 11th after having a bad qualifying run, and it looks like qualifying might have been the key. This is a shorter race after all, so I think we'll need a lucky caution if one comes out. It's kind of hard to create a caution when there are 12 drivers in the field, but we've had it happen in SRC, so nothing is off the table. Looks like Daniel Sparks is starting to close in on Nicholas Morelli. He's closed that gap up from just over 0.6 to just over 3.5 tenths. So maybe Daniel Sparks has found the driving style that suits him for this combination. Looks like he isn't taking the corners as aggressively as Morelli misses the apex, nearly hits the wall. That's going to set him up for a bad exit coming down the back straight. And this closes the gap for Daniel Sparks by about 0.2. Sparks looking to the inside of Morelli. Will he be able to make it stick? Morelli giving him more than enough room, and Morelli had to let off a lot to avoid hitting the wall. Now Joshua Rudolph was looking to the inside of Morelli, but backed off, thinking better of it. Now Joshua Rudolph looking to the inside of Morelli, trying to get some sort of run going. Looks like he can't get that to happen, so he will have to set it up some other point as Daniel Sparks looks to increase his gap between him and Nicholas Morelli. Mark Kluge has already opened up an over 3.5 second gap between him and Daniel Sparks. Joshua Rudolph is someone we haven't spoken a lot about, at least I haven't spoken a lot about in my time broadcasting ASRC. Normally runs about this position. Just a lot of times there's battles up front that take away from me being able to focus on stuff happening more in the back. As he looks to the inside of Morelli, does he have the run? It looks like he does not. Looks like they both got loose on the exit of the corner. As looks like Mark Kluge has made his way past Benjamin Harsty. As I think Harsty got on the wall. There's a little bit of right front damage. Like I said, it is very easy to get into the wall here at Indy. So that puts Daniel Ott up into the second position. But Mark Royce currently has a 5.5, almost a 5.5 second gap over Daniel Ott, as Daniel Ott's in the far end of the picture. But Mark Royce up to a comfortable lead, currently about 0.3 faster on that last lap. So he has some speed. As near the back for P number 8, Johnny Bell all over the back end of Brandon Feeney, and Michael Sparks looking to capitalize if anything happens. And it looks like Joshua Rudolph has made his way past Nicholas Morelli, and now he might try to work on Daniel Sparks, as Daniel Sparks blew the corner a little bit. This is going to set up Joshua Rudolph for a good run into turn 4. If he can set something up down the front straight, he will make his way into the top 5. But looks like he does not have the run just yet, and Nicholas Morelli isn't following him to the inside. So looks like as the race goes on, these cars get looser, as Daniel Sparks having a little bit of a loose moment out of 2, comes up in front of Rudolph. Oh, that's a little sketchy, but looks like Rudolph will maintain the outside coming into turn 3. So a defensive line for Daniel Sparks, who who will let off first. Looks like Rudolph will try to back up the corner a little bit. Oh, they're getting real close. Clean racing so far, but that's still a very loose and unstable race car under the number 4 as Joshua Rudolph completes the pass. Now Nicholas Morelli looking to the outside of Daniel Sparks. So Nicholas Morelli has passed Daniel Sparks for position number 6, but Daniel Sparks not looking to lose two positions so quickly as Morelli runs really high, gives hand the position back to Daniel Sparks. And I think Daniel Sparks will now try to work on getting Joshua Rudolph back. As looks like something happened with Brandon Feeney. As both Michael Sparks and Johnny Bell hit him. So let's see what happened with that in just a moment. So coming into turn 1, looks like he just messed up the corner. Didn't hit the wall, or well there he hit the wall. And just lost a whole lot of time. So now Brandon Feeney has dropped back into position number 9. We're going back into this lovely battle for P6. Nicholas Morelli trying to get something going on the number 4 of Daniel Sparks. Mark Royce has increased his lead to just under 6 seconds as Daniel Sparks pulls into pit lane. So he will be the first car to come down pit road, maybe the first car to be on a fresh set of tires might be the move, but I think being 15 seconds back, it might just negate it by sheer distance. But here in P8, Michael Sparks looking to work on Johnny Bell, as these two have basically been at it all race. Two very clean drivers, as Brandon Feeney looks like he's having some handling issues after he hit the right front in the wall. That car is a little bit skewed, at least from what I see. As Mark Royce enters pit lane, multiple cars entering pit lane here. Let's see. So we have Royce, Kluge, Ott, Harsty, and Morelli all in pit lane right now. And keep in mind, the distance between first and second was a little over 6 seconds. So if there's a time where to make up some positions, as this is exactly what Mark Kluge does not need. He completely blew his pit stop as he's having all sorts of trouble getting into the box. Mark Royce is the first one out, but Mark Kluge, disaster on pit road, had a hard time getting into his box. Same with Benjamin Harsty. But currently, your leader is Joshua Rudolph, as he will pull into pit lane. And the battle between Michael Sparks and Johnny Bell may soon be the battle for the lead, but both of them dive into pit lane. A little bit of a lockup from the 42 to try and gain any speed any distance that he can. That might be a black flag for the 42. I wouldn't bet on it, but that was a very fast entrance as Brandon Feeney closes the gap. Looks like Joshua Rudolph with a poor pit stop. And Mark Royce comes to take the lead once more. Let's see what the distance between him and second place is. He's gained over a second on second place, Daniel Ott. So a 7-second lead between Mark Royce and Daniel Ott. I bet Mark Kluge has to be kicking himself for that pit stop. That was just it happens when you're trying to gain time. You miss your pit box. It's sad, but it happens. As Corey Logan's the first car to go one lap down, all cars are out of pit road, and that should be the only stop of the race to split it into two runs, before the first pit stop and after the first pit stop. But Mark Royce has set his lead to almost 8 seconds now, almost on the back of Nicholas Morelli, who's currently running 11th. So it looks like he did not get the pit stop that he wanted. But Brandon Feeney all over the back end of Johnny Bell at the moment. Fresh tires is something that Brandon Feeney is very good at using. He's very fast and fresh tires. Looking to the inside of Johnny Bell. Johnny Bell gives him plenty of room. Kind of sacrifices his exit doing so. But it looks like Brandon Feeney will have the run down the back straight to take 7th place. And this is really the only battle that's going on the track right now to give you something to watch. But it looks like Brandon Feeney is going to take the 7th position away from Johnny Bell, who will slide back into 8th place. Lap 24 out of 40. We're already over halfway. And Mark Royce has an 8-second lead at the moment, as he has lapped Nicholas Morelli. So Nicholas Morelli, the second car to go one lap down. I don't know what happened to Nicholas Morelli. He was running right around the top 5, having a great battle, and then something happened. I don't know if he messed up his pit stop or had it coming for a penalty. Something happened. Not too sure what, but that's a shame. He was running good as Morelli gets into the wall and saves the car as he almost spun out. But now back in 9th place, Michael Sparks looking to catch the back end of Johnny Bell. Gets a good exit out of turn 4. He's going to have a great run down the front straight to try and catch up, as Jason Gardner in the distance, about 2 seconds behind these two drivers. Looks like Michael Sparks might try to cut down using those fresh tires, but can't get it done. Can't cut to the inside of Johnny Bell. But he might have a good run with help of the draft down this long back straight. But I don't think that he got too good of an exit. So Johnny Bell is going to keep 8th place at the moment. Excuse me. Yeah, this is currently the closest battle right now. 2.5 tenths separate Michael Sparks and Johnny Bell. This might be what Jason Gardner wants to see, as as two cars battling will definitely get him closer into some action. But typical Indy activities, just long runs, and you're eventually racing the track and not other people, since this track is so big and it spreads out so easily. Definitely made for more high downforce cars, like the Indy cars that famously race here. Ooh, Michael Sparks getting on the grass a little bit. That's a little bit of a no-no, since he can get your car real loose. But he has a good entry. Can he maximize the exit out of turn 4? He might get a good run down the front straight with help of the draft. Looks like that's not the case at the moment. Moving back up to Mark Royce in the number 44, currently basically on cruise control. as he's 9 seconds ahead of Daniel Ott. That car behind him is Nicholas Morelli, currently in 11th place. So let's go back to the battle between Michael Sparks and Johnny Bell. Michael Sparks looking to the inside of Bell, not close enough. You have to have the momentum, or else you'll make an over-aggressive move and wreck yourself and the other person. And one thing's for sure, you won't end up on the Christmas card list if you end up hooking him in the corner. But this is allowing Jason Gardner to catch up a little bit, as he's closed the gap to under a second between Michael Sparks and Jason Gardner. I think it's interesting the line that Johnny Bell is running in some of these corners. He's running about a lane higher, and this might open the door for Michael Sparks, as I believe Brandon Feeney got into the wall. So now we have a battle for 7th position. Johnny Bell looking on the outside of the slower Brandon Feeney after he hit the wall. Bell clears Feeney, but Michael Sparks does not. And looks like Brandon Feeney is not gonna be content with losing another position. So side by side for 8th position, as it looks like Michael Sparks has the advantage down the front straight. I think that 38 of Feeney is crabbing just a little bit, and I think Jason Gardner had to take evasive maneuvers. As that 38 is all over the place. He's not having too great of a time trying to wrangle that car. This is a tough combo. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say this is the easiest combo of all time. These high-powered, low downforce cars at Indy is a tough combo, and it's very easy to get into the wall. Michael Sparks looking to make a move on Johnny Bell. He has a gap on the inside, can't get it done, and gets a little bit loose, which compromises his exit. This brings Jason Gardner to the outside of Brandon Feeney, going to use the draft off of Michael Sparks to try it and get something on the outside of Feeney, and that will work. Michael Sparks still trying to work on Johnny Bell, but Johnny Bell is doing a good job of defending that position, as Michael Sparks is trying his darndest to get past that 27, even getting in the grass a little bit, and that's going to sacrifice his exit, as Jason Gardner to the inside of Michael Sparks. Michael Sparks now on the back foot, on the outside, the less preferred line, as Brandon Feeney gonna look to the inside of the 42. Nice move from Jason Gardner. Now can Jason Gardner use that speed to catch up to Johnny Bell, as he gets very loose out of the corner. This is gonna allow Michael Sparks to his outside. Some great racing for 8th place right now, as Jason Gardner on the inside. Michael Sparks runs a little bit high, but he is clear, so he can cut back down. And Brandon Feeney now trying to make a move on the 93 of Gardner. Looks like nothing will come of that coming down the back straight, as these cars remain single file. Mark Royce in the lead has gained about a 10-second advantage over Daniel Ott. So as long as a caution doesn't come out, or Mark Royce doesn't make some sort of catastrophic mistake, you should have this in the bag. Currently, the most exciting thing on the track right now is this battle for 7th place. Oh, contact between the 27 and the 42. Save it, brother, save it. Oh, gets into Jason Gardner. That's not what you want to see. Oh, no. Oh, you saw it live. We'll get a replay real soon. I don't think Jason Gardner's too happy about that. He was basically an innocent bystander. It's hard to save these cars. So let's get a replay of that real quick. And we are back. So Johnny Bell battling with Michael Sparks. Looks like Michael Sparks just dove it in a little bit too much, put a little bit too much sauce on it. Got into the back of Johnny Bell. Johnny Bell basically spends the entire corner trying to save it, and then does, but just barely nicked the quarter panel of the 93. Tough luck for Jason Gardner as he has to come down pit lane to repair some of that damage. He will be the third car 1 lap down. No caution came out for that, as no cars actually spun out. So as long as nothing like that happens again, we should be caution. We should have a caution-free race. And Brandon Feeney trying to get to the back of Johnny Bell. Currently, this is the closest battle on the track right now. About 6/10 separating Johnny Bell and Brandon Feeney, but Brandon Feeney did not get a very good exit out of the corner. And let me get rid of this. But over a 10-second gap has separated Mark Royce and Daniel Ott. Mark Royce has been the star of the show as he got a little bit loose, but you can afford to get a little loose when you are 10.5 seconds ahead of the nearest car. As we approach 5 laps to go here at Indianapolis, that car in the back of the shot was Nicholas Morelli. So Mark Royce has gained such a big lead that he's not even in the same shot. But Johnny Bell, looking to catch up to Michael Sparks, has made it within half a second in the closing stages of this race. So even with heated up tires from all of that sliding he did, saving the car, looks like he will be able to. Looks like he might be able to make something to get up into 7th place. And Jason Gardner, that car is crabbing down the front straight. That car is all sorts out of whack. He had to pit one more time. So I think that Jason Gardner just wants to limp this thing home. As Michael Sparks has pulled out to about a 1-second gap between him and Johnny Bell. And that gap has grown to now over 11 seconds between Mark Royce and Daniel Ott. So Mark Royce could probably be half throttle the rest of the race and still come away with the W. 3 laps to go here at Indianapolis in the Brickyard 100 for Attrition Sim Racing Campus. This is the full length oval series, the full season length oval series. Before this, we ran 12 race seasons, with one exception being last season when we ran 11 because of Christmas falling on a Monday. But this is the first season of the 36 race schedule, so we might do it again, we might not. ASRC is known for changing up what cars are run and what tracks. This used to be a street stock league, then it went to a tour modified league, then it went to a late model league, and then it went to the lesser powered ARCA cars, which has the same body as this, but with less power. And then the most recent season, this is the first season with the Gen 4 cars. 2 laps to go here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A dominant performance by Mark Royce. Took the lead early on. He's definitely going to be the one leading the most laps. So he's going to get those bonus points. If I'm not mistaken, it is 5 bonus points for that. But coming to the white flag in the air. Barney the flagman in the flag stand, waving that white flag for Mark Royce in the number 44. All he has to do is put together one more solid lap, not screw up tremendously, and he will be your winner at Brickyard. Coming out of turn 2, pretty smooth, a little bit loose, but nothing too major. So we had reports that Benjamin Harsty had to come into pit lane on lap 39, maybe for a splash of fuel, but he looks like he didn't lose any positions. In turn 3, good entry, good exit, final corner out of turn 4. Mark Royce in the number 44 Harley Davidson Gen 4 car. He will win a dominant race at Indianapolis. Daniel Ott 12 seconds behind in second place, and Benjamin Harsty, even coming out of pit lane, will be in third place. Mark Kluge making a good recovery to salvage a fourth place after that pit stop. As we have a battle for sixth place between Daniel Sparks and Johnny Bell. Coming to the line, looks like Michael Sparks is going to pull the move on Daniel Sparks. Looks like Daniel Sparks might have run out of fuel. So pitting early was not the move, as Brandon Feeney passes him. So that will relegate Daniel Sparks down to ninth place. Looks like Daniel Sparks ran out of fuel coming to the line. But Mark Royce is your winner here at Indianapolis. Gonna do some nice victory burnouts on the bricks, and we will get to interviews very shortly. As we have some drama, that pit stop that I mentioned for Benjamin Harsty, looks like he got loose on exit, and got into pit lane, and that gave him a penalty that will relegate him back to 10th place. So Mark Kluge makes it into the third position. Okay, so Dan. Okay. Dan. Okay, we will be right back. We welcome you back to the ASRC Oval Series race at Indianapolis. We have our winner, Mark Royce, in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, Mark?
I got you.
All right. So a dominant performance here at Indianapolis. Saw you pull to a lead early on. With a great move. So were you pushing it, and then were you worried at all that Harsty or Ott might have been saving it while you might have pushed it a little hard?
I wasn't worried about the tires. The fuel. I ran 4 of these races against AI just this week getting ready, and 2 of those races I finished with zero point 0.1 gallons left in 40 laps, pitting at 20 laps, and I knew I could stay on a pretty good pace, and I just saved a little bit on the second set of tires there and made sure I made it to the end. But it was a fun run.
Yeah. So do you think? I really want to ask, how was the car handling? Because I saw a lot of drivers smack the wall. The car looked really loose out of the exit of turn 4. Was it just an overall loose setup, and that's why people were smacking the wall so much?
I think you just want to get on the gas to get going so bad. These cars get loose, so it's really it's a loose race setup for the first few laps, and then it kind of comes in, and then you kind of plow into turns 1 and 3 a little bit on entry. But I mean, whoever's making these setups for iRacing, they're doing a phenomenal job, I think.
All right. So before we let you go, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank for your win?
I just thank all the guys at Attrition. Another flag to flag race. Congrats to Daniel Ott in second and Mark Kluge on third. It was a great battle, and we'll see you, I think, at Michigan.
Next race is actually Watkins Glen of all places. So
Oh, fun.
I actually might race that if I'm feeling up for it. So
Come on out.
if the stars align, then I might be battling with you at Watkins Glen. So
Sounds good, man. Look,
Mark Royce finishing first place here at Indy. We'll see you next time, buddy.
thank you.
It seems like there's nobody else in the waiting room for the broadcast. Dan Ott was in there, but he decided to leave. So that will wrap up our stream here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm your host, Garrett Hess. Big shout out to SKS Graphics and Andrew Schulte for the ticker and graphics for this event. This is based off of the mid 2000s, mid 2010s Fox Sports layout. So big thanks to them. If you have any broadcasting or ticker needs, go to SKS Graphics, and especially Andrew Schulte, very talented person. So my name's Garrett Hess, covering for Aiden or Icy Otter, who normally does this, and I will see you next time.